What is going on, everybody? We are back for another round of UCL, and this time it is the round of 16. We just got the draw. We're seeing who's going up against who. The last round against the knockout round was awesome. We're going to recap it a little bit as we go through each one of these rounds for the teams that actually played in advance to this versus, and not the teams that were already here, obviously, who got the bye. But yeah, let's hop into it with the first one being your team, Adam. I'm gonna let you take this away since you're Arsenal simp on this podcast. You got PSV, my bad, PSV. I believe you guys faced them last year as well. This is a weakened PSV team who is missing their best player right now, Malik Tillman. And their right back is Serginho Dest and the other American striker, Ricardo Pepi. But they still got Luke de Jong and a couple other role players on their team. But you guys, from what I believe, are still coming in here pretty healthy. And yeah, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, there's two sides to this coin. An Arsenal team that's not very deep. So as soon as they get more than two injuries, then it's pretty much game over. So we've been seeing that in the league. But at the same time, this is also an Arsenal team that has been playing well in the Champions League. Teams tend to carry their form over into the Champions League. I say tend to, it doesn't always happen, but Arsenal are another one of those teams. If they're playing poorly in the Champions League, they tend to carry that over in the Champions League, not necessarily the league. Same thing goes for if they're playing well in the Champions League, and that's actually been a bright spot for them. They've been very consistent. Granted that they haven't had a ton of super difficult matches in the Champions League yet, but they did have some decent teams that they went against, and they looked pretty convincing. They just looked really good. Aside from it was Liverpool, and who was right below Liverpool. I'm drawing a blank right now. Was it Barca?
Oh, in terms of the seedings? Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure. I should have had that pulled up, but
God,
I can actually get
damn.
that for you right now. It was it was Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, and
Okay,
Inter.
I don't know why I was hesitating there, but they were right up there. So I think that they'll be fine. I think they're gonna do well here. I think that their struggles in the league it's just a different story, and I think PSV is the type of team. Even though they can come out and play like you mentioned, missing their best player, they did look pretty good in that previous round. But yeah, like
Taking
I
out
said,
Juve.
yeah. But so that was impressive, and we did talk about it in a previous video. But like I said, I think Arsenal's going to go through. They've been struggling. They can make it definitely a lot closer than it should be, but their Champions League form has been a lot better than their Premier League form, and I think they're going to carry that in.
Yeah, I think I'm agree with you here. I think PSV, while they've had a great run and they made some pretty big upsets and had a really good run in Champions League, even though their league table has not been the best. Well, actually, I take that back. I believe they're leading. No, Ajax is leading the table, and I believe they're in second. But nonetheless, Arsenal, I think, are just going to be a little too much for them, especially missing some key players that they have on their team. So I'm going to go Arsenal here. Let's move on to the next game. And we got a Madrid derby right here. We got Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. This matchup has been absolutely neck and neck throughout, not just the league, but now in Champions League. I'm really excited to see a third iteration of the Madrid derby this year. This is going to be, to me, my matchup of the week. I'm really excited to see this because I don't know if you've been following La Liga at all, Adam, but the top three race and even the four, if you throw Bilbao in there, has been super, super tight. There's 1 point difference between first and third. I believe Barca and Real Madrid are tied right now. And then Atletico, I believe, is in first. I have to look at the table again. But nonetheless, this is going to be a really good matchup. I'm going to go here with my prediction of Atletico advancing, taking down Real Madrid. And my reasoning because of that is that I think Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, I've liked the way they have looked in their recent form. I don't know if you saw the game against Barcelona. They have been absolute. That was one hell of a game. That was an awesome game to watch in the Copa del Rey quarterfinal. Went 4-4 and then straight into pens. It was awesome. But I've liked the way that Atletico's played very compact and they've been able to work together really well. And they've been super dangerous in transition. I think everybody's clicking. Julian Alvarez is on a tear this year playing as the star striker for them. I think Real Madrid, is going to be pretty susceptible. I do think this is going to be a close matchup. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to be Atleticos to just take and run away with. I can't remember who has the first leg. Let me get that right now. The first leg is at Madrid. At of course at Madrid. At the Bernabeu.
Oh, interesting.
So I like the goal event, the home field advantage here because I think Atletico, they're that team, that just they'll bunker down. They'll hold and they'll stay defensively strong. And I think they will do that in the Bernabeu, and then they're going to open it up a little bit more once they get back to their home stadium. So yeah, who do you got here?
This is a tough one. Have they played both their league games? I know they've played and had a 1-1 draw. I think
Well, I
that
also
this
want
is
to
one of those
add
things.
too
Yeah, go for it.
that Valverde is doubtful, and so is Mbappe. And obviously, we already know that there's the ACL injury to not just Carvajal, but also Militao. But that hasn't seemed to affect them too much defensively. And then Atletico Madrid is missing Koke, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, missing Mbappe and Valverde, which Valverde is probably one of the most underrated players on their team, that's a huge hit. And obviously, missing Mbappe, arguably one of the best players in the world right now. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's very easy just to say, you know what, and for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned as well, just kind of pick Atletico on this. But I think that the two legs is going to benefit Real here. Um, I think if it was just one match knockout, Atletico or that kind of team, I can trust them to squeak out a 1 goal draw or 1 goal win, push it maybe to extra time, something like that. I don't know. I just think that, the way that Real Madrid have been playing, I don't necessarily. I mean, obviously he's a great player, but it's not like Mbappe has been unfreaking believable, like unstoppable, like saving games, kind of like, remember when Jude Bellingham came in and was like,
Yeah.
everybody was like, holy shit, like we expected this guy to be a midfielder, and he's like saving our ass and single-handedly getting his
Mhm.
point. I just don't feel like he's doing that enough, or at least as much as
I will
people
say
expected.
he is heating up. He is
He
heating up,
is.
and he's
He
playing
is
really
heating
well.
up.
As of recently, it did take a minute to, but it seems like I'm curious to see who's going to play that backup role. That's going to be really intriguing. Who's also going to like? I wonder with the Valverde gone, like, are they going to throw Luca out there for the 90 minutes? Like, I'm curious to
I
see
mean, I
what
don't know.
the
I guess if you're
change of
gonna if you're
state
gonna have
for.
most of the ball, it definitely is possible because you'd have to assume that they're gonna dominate the possession. That's how Atletico is kind of gonna want it to be. So I mean, you're not far off in picking Atletico, but I'm gonna be a bit of a wimp here, pick the safe pick, and just go with Real.
And just to mention the La Liga race right now, Barcelona 54, Real Madrid 54, Atletico Madrid 53. So 1 point. So this is it's going to come down to the final match day, I think, for this La Liga title. But that's a conversation for another day. Let's move on to the next game. This one I think is going to be another fun one. PSG versus Liverpool. PSG is coming in here extremely hot. Obviously, they blew the doors off Brest 7-0 on aggregate, I want to say, or no, that was actually for the game.
Huh.
Um,
Yeah, something
I
like
can't
it was
remember exactly.
ridiculous.
Either way, it was
I
a
just know it was
blowout. But
ridiculous.
even before that, they started off really slow, obviously not getting great performances against Girona and everything, but they've really come into their own. They've like played amazing. I mean, obviously they had the game against Manchester City where I thought they dominated Manchester City that game. PSG is really starting to play more free and exciting, free flowing football. They are super fast. I've loved what Barcola has done. Dembele's been on a tear since he's went to PSG, which I'm not gonna lie, I was a big Dembele hater, especially when he was at Barca. But now I'm starting to realize that maybe it was just Xavi's system because since he's been at PSG, he's been extremely lethal in the attack and a goal scoring threat. I just really like what PSG's kind of done, especially what they did in the transfer market, bringing in, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but the Georgian superstar out of Napoli who got transferred over this last one. He scored his, he's now starting to score for them as well. I'm really liking this PSG team now. So now let me go over to Liverpool. This is a Liverpool team that obviously is at the top of the Prem. They beat Manchester City over the weekend. I've been saying pretty much all year that I think Liverpool's the best team in the world. They've been the hottest. Obviously, they're number one in Europe right now, or they were. This is going to be an interesting matchup, though. PSG obviously is going to have the first leg at home. I'm going to go Liverpool here, but do not be surprised if PSG can pull off the upset. I will say that. But I'm going to go Liverpool because I just think just in general, I think they're just running too hot right now and they're really good on all levels and I just feel like Liverpool's so deep in the attack whether it be Jota, Luis Diaz. Obviously there's controversy recently of Darwin Nunez, but Mohamed Salah is arguably in the Ballon d'Or race right now, the Ballon d'Or favorite currently. So, yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool here. Who do you got?
Yeah, he's awoken, and I'm gonna go Liverpool here as well. And I'm also gonna make a bold prediction and just well, bold. It's really not bold. They won the Premier League already. Um, especially after
Mm.
this week.
Hot
Think it's
take.
over.
Hot take,
Think it's
Adam.
over. um, I think that I agree with you. I think PSG have been hot and they performed a lot better than I expected and probably we expected. Um, I think that this Liverpool team is just too powerful. They're just gonna run into a brick wall. I think some of the reason why PSG looked so hot is because you could argue maybe they weren't going up against the strongest of opponents. So I don't think it's gonna be an absolute rout, but I think it's gonna be a pretty convincing aggregate win for Liverpool here. They're the best team in the world right now. They're honestly the team to beat in this tournament and obviously the Premier League.
All right, let's move on to the next game, and that is Club Brugge versus Aston Villa. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Adam, I've been beating this Club Brugge drum all season long since the first time I saw them play. Obviously, this is a rematch from the league phase, and with that first matchup going to Club Brugge by an awful mistake by Aston Villa. But one thing Club Brugge has done this entire Champions League is be solid defensively. Atalanta last game, you heard me like in the last
Well,
recap was they put up 30 goals on them. Granted, they should have put more away. I mean, 30 shots on them. Granted, they should have put a couple away. But Club Brugge, the keeper there, the defensive line, they have remained solid. They have been barely getting scored on. They have been really lethal in transition. They've been taking the most out of the chances that they get. And I'm going to pick an upset here. I like Club Brugge taking down Aston Villa. I think they're going to get the one goal advantage at home to start off the series, to start off the leg, and then go to Villa Park and be able to hold it down, maybe get the draw in a 1-1. And I think they get it done. What do you think?
this is a tough one.
You got to pick an upset.
Probably
That was me. That's my upset of the week
I don't know
thought
if you
process.
could really even call that an upset. Aston Villa really aren't
Yeah, they
super
did win.
strong. Yeah, but that's the thing, like they
Well, Club Brugge won the
club.
first leg,
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
match. And
exactly. They won that. I don't know if that benefits Aston Villa that much. This is very. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a toss up, but I just am gonna go based on Champions League performances and who I've been just more impressed by, and I think that the Atalanta victory over the two legs was very, very, very good for Brugge, and I think just based on form, I'm gonna have to go with them.
All right. We're both picking the upset here against Villa, even though technically, yeah, it's an upset. But let's go to the next one. We got another rematch, and that is Barcelona versus Benfica. And in the last time they played against each other in Champions League earlier this year, it went into an absolute shootout 5-4. Barcelona taking the cake right there. Man, I don't know if we're going to get that again. I'm going to say it right now. I don't think it's going to happen again. Barcelona, they have been so hot. They've been one of the hottest teams in the world right now. Rafinha has completely turned I don't want to say turned his career around, but he's done a complete 180 from what I've seen with him the last few years. I've been on Rafinha. I almost wanted him gone this summer. I was just tired. I felt like he was very one dimensional. But this year, he's truly become a Ballon d'Or contender. I'm not even joking with that. He's got to be top 5 or top 3 into the race. He's been playing out of his mind. Lewandowski's been playing out of his mind. Obviously, Lamine Yamal has still been playing. This team is just clicking on all fronts. Obviously, they're first in the La Liga race. Hansi Flick has got these guys working like a well-oiled machine. Benfica, I just don't know which Benfica I'm going to get from them. They've been inconsistent at times. They beat like an Atletico. They go 5-4 against the Barcelona, but then other times they're just ghosts and they don't do anything. And because of that, in a two-legged affair, especially when Barcelona has a little bit more talent, I'm going to go Barcelona here. I do think it's going to be probably still a high-scoring series. I'm predicting. Let's go with like a 6-4. I think that's what's going to happen there.
Um,
But yeah, who do you got?
Well, I'm gonna agree with pretty much everything you said except for the aggregate score. I don't think it's gonna be that high, at least
Mhm.
on the Benfica side. I think you could probably argue it could get that high on the Barca side, but I mean, I think you nailed it perfectly. With the two legs and not knowing which Benfica you're gonna get, I think that just really seals the deal if there is any doubt. But Barca, like you said, I mean, there's really not much more to add there. They have been one of the hottest teams in the world besides Liverpool. Everybody seems to be clicking. Um, and Lewandowski, I mean, it's you always thought his production was going to go down when he left Bayern just because of the system and going kind of into the unknown. Barca weren't exactly like a perfect machine at the time. Took him some time, but it's good to see that he's starting to click with Spain and that style. So, I mean, when you got players like Rafinha and Lewandowski playing at their best, they could beat anybody in the world, and they're favorites for the whole competition. So, I'm gonna agree with you and go Barca on this one.
All right, next game we got Borussia Dortmund versus Lille. Man, this I tell you what, we've got some banger matchups because this is another one. I think this is a sleeper one. Everybody's going to look at PSG, Liverpool, and Real Madrid, Atletico, and Bayern and Leverkusen, but this Lille Dortmund matchup is one for the ages. Lille's a team that's just been flying on the radar and no one's talking about. This team is banging in goals. Jonathan David, the Canadian, has been playing out of his mind. The guy deserves an insane transfer this coming summer. But this little team, the goalie for them, defense, they have just been so clinical, so fast. But then on the other side, you got Borussia Dortmund, who has been. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the league phase, but they started off super strong. They were in first place for a while. Then they kind of had a little bit of a dip when Adeyemi got hurt, but now they've kind of bounced back up. Obviously, Girassi, the striker for Borussia Dortmund, is the Golden Boot leader right now. He's been playing really well. I feel like we lost Adam for a second, but now he's back. But I'm gonna go Borussia Dortmund here. I think they just have a little bit more depth and a little bit more things. Actually, you know what? I take that back. This is another toss up for me. But either way, I'm gonna go Lille here. I'm gonna pick the upset. I'm gonna commit to that. Lille, I think that this game, this is gonna be a shootout matchup. I really like this. I think playing at France and playing at Lille is going to be pretty tough. I think Adeyemi is going to have a great game as well. I predict this aggregate going, let's say 5-3. So yeah, I got Lille. Adam just warned me, powers out. So I'm gonna finish this off here. All right, for the next matchup, we got the German like battle right here. We have Bayern Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. This is going to be a really good one. Bayern Leverkusen, another team. I feel like obviously they haven't lived up to that same status that we saw from them last year, having the perfect season with no losses except for the final against Atalanta in the Europa League. But this is still a quality team who's kind of flown under the radar this entire Champions League, who got into the top six. This is and then you're going up against a Bayern team who I want to say has really struggled. They didn't look that good against Celtic. They've kind of dipped in form towards the end of the Champions League setting. With that ending against Celtic, I would have liked them to be a little bit more. I just felt like they couldn't get that last for whatever reason, and they have the creativity. I will say this: I'm kind of over the Leroy Sané thing. I just don't think he really has the quality anymore, or really ever has. I feel like if he wasn't German, that he would have been off the team by now. So, but with that being said, I'm going to go Leverkusen with the upset here. I think they've just been a little bit more cohesive as a whole. They've been more consistent, at least in terms of Champions League play. I've liked what I've seen from them versus Bayern. they're another one where I don't know which Bayern we're gonna get necessarily. There's moments where they absolutely dominate, but then there's some where they just can't get it together. I mean, it took late last minute heroics from Alfonso Davy to get that tap in from the corner. So I'm gonna go Leverkusen here. Now for the final game, it's got Feyenoord versus Inter Milan. Feyenoord has been upsetting teams left and right. Took down Bayern. They took down AC Milan this last round, but then they lose 6-0 to Lille. I don't really know. Obviously, I think that was a little bit more of a fluky. They've also been a team that I don't want to say have been inconsistent, but they have been getting caught at times during the Champions League run. Now, in league play, they also haven't been the best. They may not qualify for Champions League next year at their current rate. Inter Milan. Inter Milan's another one where I think that first half of the season, like Lataro's not playing. They don't really know. Like it seems like they're kind of going back and forth or whatever. Now this is an Inter. I feel like they're starting to play a little bit more cohesively. We're starting to understand who they're starting to get back to who they were. I think Lataro's heating up. Marcos Thuram is starting to play well. I think Inter Milan gets the job done here at Feyenoord. While Feyenoord has been a great run, this is still a very young team. I want to say this is, from what I remember, they're saying that this is the youngest Feyenoord team in like years. And obviously, I got my Costa Rican compatriot, Jalen Mitchell, who's hopefully going to come off the bench and see some minutes. I would like to see that. But yeah, I'm going to go Inter Milan here. I think they're just going to be a little too much. They're just too good on all levels of the field. Inter Milan is going to be kind of one of these sneaky teams. I think it's going to make it possibly a semifinal run. If you want to say Inter Milan's even a sneaky team, obviously I'm talking about the Scudetto winners of last year and making it to the final the year before that. But anyways, those are my round of 16 predictions. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think we're stupid, me and Adam? Do you think that our picks and our upsets we don't know what we're talking about? Let us know down below. And yeah, we'll see you guys after the round of 16 where we recap all these and give our reactions. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, ring the notification bell if you want to see that video. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.